Hello, and welcome to another streaming session of me writing code and figuring out how things work. So today there's going to be three specific bits that I'm going to, or actually two specific things that I'm going to try to knock out. One is getting a few Docker files or Docker compose elements added to the project. I'm going to go ahead and start that right now by creating a directory called, naming. It's always the hardest part of everything. What should I call it? I'm going to call it local infra. Sounds good. Local infra, and here is where I'm going to put my various Docker elements. Now, I'm going to open up Writer. I'm going to also open up code. And we're going to talk about IDE differences too in this effort. Now, both of these IDEs will give you Docker file and Docker compiles, YAML, highlighting, and that kind of stuff. I opened up the wrong directory. Let me open up the right directory. Code, ... boom. That should be the right directory. There we go. All right, I'm going to open up this. Now, one of the things that I wanted to point out is, well, one day Writer will open. In code, you can actually open up and you see all the files, including the git ignore me file and the .github, which is kind of a hidden directory. Has all the .ignore files in there. Now, if I go in my directory I just created, all right, Writer, settle down, and go to local infra, and then let's add a file. Let's just call it dockercompose.yaml. And see, now code already knows Docker extension is recommended for this file type. So I'm going to click install. And we'll probably use code for most of this session. So there's our Docker compose file. Then if we go back out to Writer, however, and you see it opened up the project, but there's none of these tertiary files. So I'm not really sure. Writer is just behaving a lot like Visual Studio, which is weird since the other thing's called Visual Studio Code and doesn't actually act like Visual Studio, the thing that runs on Windows, but JetBrains Writer acts more like Visual Studio. Now, there's a lot of reasons to use Writer, such as the autocomplete and various IntelliSense capabilities are more extensive, dramatically so, and the refactoring capabilities are dramatically better in Writer from everything that I can tell of what I've done. Mind you, it's been a little bit minimal because I haven't done a lot of C# over the last couple years. But code definitely gets you there quite quickly and gets you running with these things that are very common in projects these days, but not something that is normal in the .NET world. Like YAML files and Docker and all that stuff is still much newer in the .NET realm than it has been in, say, Python projects or Node.js projects or whatever. Docker kind of cut its teeth in that realm versus it being kind of in a sense, the .NET project really doesn't know where the Docker stuff sits, so it doesn't, like with JetBrains Writer, Visual Studio, and I can't speak to Visual Studio on Windows, but for a long time it just didn't even show anything, and just like Writer now doesn't show where that file is or anything like that. So I'll take a look at that at some other time and point out how we can go about getting Docker to run in that. But for now, let's just get things running here with code. So terminal to the left, code to the right. I'm basically all ready to go now. So the first thing that I want to do is add some support for launching Docker services or servers so we can have those launched and then do development against them and have integration tests run against them to verify that things are working correctly. Let's see here. Bear with me just a minute. I'm going to pull up my Twitch chat and a few other things because I'm getting messages and I just closed the blasted browser. Yes, JetBrains Writer is a bit slow because it loads up a lot more stuff than Visual Studio Code does. All right, so the idea is, all right, first things first, let's get the DataStax Enterprise Cassandra cluster Docker stuff up and running. I wrote a blog entry about this not so long ago, about how you can start a multi-node cluster, and you can also get the Ops Center and other capabilities running too on your local machine. And this is a great way to get things set up so you can just kind of work against it in a development perspective. And I'm going to pull up the web page real quick to show you what that is. Here we go. I wrote this entry. It's pretty handy. I got a link to all the bits where I have a link to the specific images here for that, but also the compose files we need to set up. So I'm going to step through that now and show you how we can get it all set up and have our own cluster running locally so we can actually work against it. So right now I'm going to go with the server first. That YAML file is going to look like, I'm going to pulled it up in the wrong browser. Man, news is always so depressing. Yes, I accept cookies on my own site. So let's see, I'm just going to put in DataStax, Enterprise, Docker. Let's see what that gets us. Yep, there we go. Brings me right to the blog entry. So that's what I want. So the first YAML file I'm going to grab is this one. Get that contents, paste it into here. And this is for just a server node, okay? So in every situation, when this is used to launch, using Docker Compose, it'll launch the seed node, but then if you add any to the cluster, it'll launch the seed node, and then any subsequent ones will just be called server node or whatever. So that's for the actual cluster. And then we'll also want Studio, in case we want to work with that. And I'll just call that Docker Compose Studio YAML. And then the last one is Ops Center. Oh, that's interesting. Look at that. And that one, it knows this one is the Docker Compose, but these other ones are just flaky as far as the plugin is concerned. All right, so I have those three. And then I'm going to actually just create just a script file. I'm going to call it starter.sh. Then we'll want to set the script up to, let's see, sudo ch mod, I believe that's right, starter. And now I can use that as my execute to run everything. All right. And then further down are the various commands to use Docker Compose to start up that multi-node cluster or whatnot. So I'm going to put that in my script. And let's see here. So basically it's docker compose -f to pass in a file. And you can do as many files as you want. And then the command is up to launch things, up, bring them up. And then -d is headless. And then scale, I'm going to go with, actually, for right now, I'm going to just go with scale node 0. We could do something like docker compose -f, docker compose .yaml, and then say up -d scale node equals 2. And actually, let's go with that one first. Now, if I run that, which, oh yeah, I don't even have docker compose running on here. But basically, if I run starter, boom, it'll run that, of course, launch everything. So let's hear in this universe. Here we go. Now, I know that those run, and we'll come back to those in just a minute and dork around with them some. So that gives us whatever we need for, well, for DataStax Enterprise. But let's say we want to work against some other hosts too with this particular CLI. One of the things that I want to work against is a Postgres server. So if I pull up a browser, let's go out to Docker Hub. And see what we have for images there. Is there maybe this one? I'll go out to the actual GitHub repo. Let's see here, hub.docker.com. Here we go, we just look it up on here. I guess this is the maintained by the PostgreSQL. Yeah, so this is the Postgres image. But I don't really want the repo. I just want the actual thing. You think, oh yeah, there we go. Official. That's what I want to look at. So Postgres is one that I'm going to want. And then let's actually look for SQL Server. So SQL Server. No, that was not useful. Maybe we don't separate it nowadays. SQL Server. Couldn't find any results at all. So let's do SQL Server official Docker image. Oh, there we go. Just leave it to Google to actually be usable to find a thing, right? So Postgres, SQL Server. What else might we want to work against with this particular thing? I'm not sure, but if you have any suggestions, you can leave them in chat and tell me what I should add to this. Things to set up locally that we want to work against. In the meantime, let's see here. How do we... let's see your docs.docker.com compose install. Pretty sure if my memory serves me right. Oh, look at there. Flawless. So I'm going to install this real quick. Oh. So I need to actually get curl to get Docker Compose based on the way they say to get it. So that was easy enough. I'll grab curl. All right. Now install Docker Compose. Guess I should install Docker too, right? Oh, is it just... That was definitely not right. There we go. And this is just a simple apt-get command to remove that junk, and then I want Wheezy or older, Jesse or newer. I want Jesse or newer. I want those things. Please install. Then I want to add this key. So just to explain again, my intent here is to get the dependencies that are needed, that I'm going to work against, while building the .NET CLI or console, all installed and ready to launch via Docker containers. So that way we can have all of whatever we need locally as we do this development. Go, got the key added. That looks wonderful. So use the following command to get a stable repository. Do I have to pick a repository? Stable is fine. I'm going to go with that. No, not that. What the hell? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Didn't need all that. That's for sure. Wheezy only, not doing Wheezy. All right, cool. Now we can do sudo apt-get update as soon as all this junk is done. There we go. And then sudo apt-get install docker CE. It's Community Edition versus EE, Enterprise Edition. For what we're doing, not that it makes that big of a difference, but oh joy. So maybe just sudo apt-get install docker. That'd be funny if it still was just docker. Oh joy, that's probably what it was. Well, anyway. Oh, or da 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 da. Let's do sudo snap install docker. See what that does. This might not be the greatest idea for me to do live, since I just decided to completely diverge from the way I was installing it and use the snap installer. Look at that. Cool. So I have Docker. So maybe using the snap method is better than using the stupid docs on the Docker website. That kind of cracks me up. So anyway, we have that now. So now I can do a Docker pull Postgres to pull that image down. Oh, I need to redo the permissions. Phooey. Okay. Set group Docker permissions. Run without sudo or something like that. I know what it is. I just can't remember what the command is to do it. It's post install steps. Yeah, there we go. So sudo group add docker. Whoops. And add that for the user. There we go. So now let's try to do the pull again. Docker pull Postgres. No? Docker run hello world. Connect to the Docker daemon socket. Del Unix permission denied. So did I get an error when I did this? No, I didn't. Main custom service changes ownership permissions with the following command. Oh, so it doesn't, my stuff doesn't exist? All right, troubleshooting time. So I'm going to go look and see if do I have a Docker? I have a .NET. User home. Which Docker? So let's do sudo shown. Take ownership of the user. And user home. Nope, I want to do snap bin docker. Oops, docker. Char. And sudo chmod g plus rewrite execute snap bin docker. Oops. Denied while trying to connect to a Docker daemon socket. Get blah 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 socket permission denied. This is why I hate computers sometimes. This is not something I wanted to deal with at the moment. Configure to Docker to start on boot. So let's actually do that too. Oh yeah, of course it doesn't, because I use snap instead of the other stupid thing. Can I do sudo docker pull Microsoft SQL Server invalid reference format? Oh, so that exists. So I'm just going to sudo this sucker for now. And we can work with it as such. So sudo, actually it's not even that big of a deal that I do it that way really for what I'm trying to do right now. New terminal. I'm going to go ahead and pull down a couple of these at one time. So this one is Docker pull Postgres. All right, and then let's see here, data stacks. Oops, I'll just go back to my blog entry. How did this one get done? I'll close this for now. Oh, I closed the thing, whatever. Studio is that image. And then up center. And then, how's this one going? That one's still rolling. Just a little ways to go though. So when you see this with Docker, if you're curious, those are layers, drive layers that it's pulling down for the image, to the best of my knowledge, which have those particular unique identifiers for the layers. And each are pulled down and they're various sizes. So that makes up the overall image. And usually they can stream, multi-stream. I'd hate to pay the bandwidth bill that Docker pays to have all this stuff available and pulled down all the time, though. These things are huge. All right, and last one, pull data stacks, DSC server. Okay, while those are pulling down, another one of the things I'm going to do, and I'm actually going to use Writer for this, is go in to our little dependencies here. And if you watch the last stream, I covered a lot of these dependencies and the packages. We pulled in DSE graph, DSE, and the JSON library here. And I'm going to actually go in, oops, where do I click this at? Up here? There we go. Manage NuGet packages. That's going to bring up the interface down below. Whoops, which I just closed by clicking on it. And then in here, I'm going to search for Postgres. Almost there. All right, so we have 9 options for Postgres. Ooh, I'm not really sure which one. Whoa, never mind. We have 100 for Postgres. So that's a little discombobulating. I'll come back to this one and do a little reading and let you know what my decision is around which driver to use there. For the other one, however, let's add SQL Server. Entity Framework SQL Server Compact. SQL Server Client. Man, all these freaking choices. Class library provides framework for communicating with SQL Server. Net Standard 2.0, 4.6.4.5. So maybe this one, but then there's SQL Server Compact. So what's SQL Server Compact do? So it's a legacy package. So we don't want a legacy package. We want this to be the latest, greatest stuff. So let's look at SQL Server DAC. What is SQL Server DAC? 2014, some other, okay, that's another weird package. Don't want that. And what is client? I wonder if that's even updated. Info. Click this. Let's see what we get. Author Alan Savage. Maybe we'll do Entity Framework. Actually, I'm going to pick Microsoft Entity Framework Core SQL Server. That looks like the fun bit. That should have all the ORM features and all of whatever else. So yeah, that's what it looks like by the name. So also note, supported via Microsoft. because it's got the little .NET tag on it. Framework core SQL Server design. We got SQL Server compact here. Caching. ASP.NET single R SQL Server. Let's click on that and see what it is. Whoops. Signal R SQL Server. And then we have these other ones though too, like Microsoft.SQL Server DACFX, Microsoft SQL Server DAC SMO. It's not exactly immediately intuitive which library to pick for this. Being it's been so long since I used any of these relational database drivers for .NET, I'm not particularly sure which one the latest one is either. Anyway, I'm going to go with that one, the entity framework for now. All right. And as you can see, it's a bit slow. This is a virtual machine, of course, mind you. So Writer is slow on it. On my normal machine, it's blazing fast. All right, so let's check on all the pulls. That one is done. That one's done. And then we'll just take this terminal. Oh, still going for the DSC server. It's a little bit further. So while that's running, I'm going to actually look and see what type of complexities I'm going to have with Docker Compose, considering my permissions are not standard. Oh, it's not found. That's super groovy too. Oh, Docker Compose. Why are you so complicated? Anyway, when all of those are good and loaded, I'm going to actually take you for a lift over here on my actual machine so we can speed things up. Virtual machines, they're cute and all, but super aggravating sometimes. All right, I'm going to go into here, pull down, whoops, pull all actually. Oh yeah, okay, get things. Yes, leave better commit messages than that, everybody, but that's your get, pull, origin master. So your get branch set up. Actually, what am I on? I'm on the master. Nope, on the other thing I was working on. Get checkout master. Get pull origin master. There we go. All right. All right, now I'm starting up Writer. And I'll pull that over in just a second here. What's it fussing about? No, I don't want to update that. Thanks, JetBrains. All right, there we go. Writer. You get a little bit better idea of how much quicker it is on this puppy. Oops. Went over here. There we go. All right, that's all the bits added last project. I'll look in NuGet again. Let's bring that out a little bit. See, much more responsive. So the packages that are in this, what's that, in solution? Oh yeah, that's for all the stuff. So it doesn't even look like the SQL Server one got added. So let's add this one. And interoperability black box. Yeah, that's what we want to do. Interesting. So I just pulled up the docs real quick here. And let's see, actually was on this page before. Connection modules for Microsoft SQL Server databases. This is interesting because they run on the following three, right? But so then it looks like it has a specific one for Linux, Ubuntu, .NET Core, Mac OS, and Windows. So I'm going to get this one since I'm on this right now. Ubuntu 18.04. And I have to install it this way. What is this? Download the driver. Oh, is it included in the thing? Yeah, this is the actual installation instructions. So Microsoft, fix your docs right here. That doesn't help to send me to .NET Core. So I guess all this stuff is included in the core libs, are available in a variety of programming languages. Relational client programs are written in object-oriented, blah, blah, blah. ORM, which uses object relational mapping, entity framework. Okay. So that kind of clarifies it. These bits include the client and the ORM stuff. It looks like. But it's not super clear. Anyway, the documentation here is not super clear for this. So let's hear. 2 minutes. Jars for ORM access. Build an app web page. Nope, I'm not doing all that. That's not what I'm doing. Let's go with PostgreSQL. Yeah, there we go. Yes. Did it do it? All right, it looks done. So yeah, let's add that to the repo. Added. What does it say I added? Yep, so added Microsoft.entity framework core.SQL server and npg SQL.entity framework.PostgreSQL. All right, and then, as I was doing before, code. Let's open up this puppy and take a look at, I know I already have Docker and everything set up on this machine because I did it ages ago. We'll take a look at what I have in the infrastructure directory. Oops. Whoops, I went and stuck that off the thing, didn't I? There we go, back where it should be. Clear CD. I pulled in my local infrastructure, which has these three files, same ones we built a minute ago. Just rename the directory. Anyway, Docker Compose, the studio, and then the Ops Center, startup dev. Let's see, we were just going to do just that, right? Yep. Oh yeah, let's scale it to 3 nodes. Save that. Let me do that. There we go. All right. So now we can do startup dev, and it's going to launch the seed node first, of course. It needs a seed node to start kicking off the other ones, and then it's going to launch the other 2. All right. So now if I do docker ps, what do I got? I have just, what are you doing, Docker?